The spaceport was full of noise. Strange alien voices mixed with the sound of machines. Bright neon lights flickered above rows of stalls, where merchants shouted to sell glowing fruits, metal weapons, and strange liquids in glass jars. Humans were rare in this place, but one human walked slowly through the crowd, watching carefully. His name was Daniel. Daniel had seen many alien markets in his travels, but this one felt different. There was a tension in the air, like danger was hiding in the shadows. He kept his coat close around him and moved quietly, hoping not to attract attention. Suddenly, a small voice cut through the chaos. "Take my toys, human. Please." Daniel stopped. He turned to see a little alien girl. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and shining with tears. In her small hands she held broken toys, tiny carved figures, scratched and old. She looked no older than 8 human years. She ran to him breathless and pushed the toys toward his chest. "Take them. I need money. I must buy medicine for my mother." Daniel was shocked. He had expected thieves or traitors, not a child begging him to buy toys. He looked down at her. She wore torn clothes and her feet were dirty from running across the rough stone floor of the market. "Medicine?" Daniel asked carefully. The girl nodded quickly. Her voice shook. "Yes, my mother is sick. Very sick. Please, human. You must help me." Nobody else will listen. Around them, some aliens stopped to stare. Daniel felt their eyes. He knew this place. The poor were ignored, the weak were stepped on, and mercy was rare. The girl's desperate voice had caught attention, and that could be dangerous. Daniel lowered his voice. "Why me?" The girl's lips trembled. "Because humans are different. My mother told me. She said humans care about children." Her words hit Daniel hard. He looked at the toys again. They were worthless junk to most, but she clutched them like treasures. Before he could answer, 2 tall alien guards appeared at the end of the street. Their armor glowed faint red and they carried long rifles. Their strange insect-like heads turned, searching the crowd. The girl gasped and pulled at Daniel's hand. "Please, hide me. They are looking for me." Daniel felt his heart pound. He did not know this child. He had no reason to get involved. If the guards saw him helping, he would be in danger too. But her grip was strong, her eyes wide with fear. For a moment, Daniel stood frozen. The guards came closer. They pushed people aside, scanning every face. The girl whispered, "Please, human. Don't let them take me. If they take me, my mother will die." Daniel cursed under his breath. He could walk away now and stay safe, but something inside him refused. He bent down and whispered quickly, "Follow me. Stay close." He moved fast, guiding her into a narrow alley between 2 stalls. The smell of metal and burning oil filled the air. They crouched behind a broken machine as the guards passed by, their heavy steps echoing. The girl held her breath, shaking silently. Daniel's hand stayed on her shoulder, keeping her still. He could feel her heart racing through her thin clothes. Finally, the guards walked past, disappearing into the crowd. The girl let out a small sob of relief. "Thank you," she whispered. Daniel studied her face. She was just a child, but she carried fear far older than her years. "What sickness does your mother have?" he asked. The girl looked down at the toys in her hands. "A rare fever. The medicine is very hard to find. Only the black market sells it. But it costs more than I have." Her eyes filled with tears again. "So I sell my toys. They are all I own." Daniel's chest tightened. A child selling toys to save her mother, chased by guards. What kind of world allowed this? "Why are the guards after you?" he asked. The girl shook her head quickly. "They don't want my mother to live. She was once a scientist. She knew things. Dangerous things. That is why they want her gone." Daniel's eyes narrowed. There was more to this story. The girl pressed the toys into his hand. "Please, human, take them. Give me what you can. I don't care if it is little, I just need to try." Daniel looked at the small figures in his palm. They were crude, simple carvings. But behind them was a child's desperation, a mother's life, and perhaps something greater. He closed his fist around them and sighed. "Keep your toys," he said softly. "But I will help you." The girl's eyes widened with hope. "You will?" Daniel nodded. "Show me where we can find the medicine." Her small face lit up with fragile relief. But in the distance, the sound of heavy boots echoed again. The guards had not given up. Daniel realized this was only the beginning. Helping her would put him against powers he did not yet understand. But as the girl held his hand tightly, he knew there was no turning back. Somewhere in this alien city, a mother was dying, and her child believed a human could save her. And Daniel, against all reason, had just promised to try. The market grew darker as the day ended. Strange lights blinked on above the stalls, painting the streets in green and red shadows. Daniel followed the little alien girl through twisting alleys, staying close, always checking behind them. The guards had not caught them yet, but he knew they were still searching. The girl's steps were fast and light. She knew these streets well. Her name, Daniel finally learned, was Lyra. "Where are we going?" he whispered. "To the cellar," Lyra answered. Her voice was quiet, but her eyes carried both fear and hope. "He has the medicine, but he will not give it easily." Daniel frowned. He had seen black markets before. Sellers who cared only for money, ruthless creatures who smelled weakness and fed on it. "And how do you plan to pay?" he asked. Lyra lifted the small pouch tied at her waist. When she opened it, Daniel saw only a few broken coins and scraps of dull metal. It was nothing. Not enough even for food, let alone rare medicine. "That will never be enough," Daniel said softly. "I know," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling.
"That is why I beg."
"That is why I sell toys." Her words struck him again. A child forced to trade childhood itself for her mother's life. He clenched his jaw. Something inside him stirred. A quiet anger. Finally, they stopped before a metal door at the edge of the market. The walls were cracked, glowing with strange symbols. Lyra knocked twice, then 3 times. A small window slid open and 2 red eyes glared out. "Who comes?" a rough voice demanded. "It is me," Lyra said quickly. "I need medicine." The door creaked open and a tall alien figure stepped into view. His skin was gray, his mouth lined with sharp teeth. He wore long black robes and heavy rings on his fingers. His eyes locked on Daniel with cold interest. "A human," the dealer hissed. "Rare, dangerous. Why do you bring him here, child?" Lyra stepped forward bravely. "He is my friend. He will help me." The dealer laughed, a harsh, rattling sound. "Help you?" "No one helps without a price." His gaze turned back to Daniel. "And what price are you willing to pay, human?" Daniel stayed calm. "What does the medicine cost?" The dealer leaned closer. "More than you have. This is not just medicine. It is a formula. It can heal. Or destroy. Only the desperate seek it." Daniel felt a chill. A formula that could be both cure and weapon. That explained the danger, the guards, the whispers. This was no ordinary medicine. Lyra's small hands tightened on Daniel's sleeve. "Please," she begged. "Just give it to me. I will pay later. My mother will die without it." The dealer's smile widened, cruel and sharp. "Promises mean nothing, child. Payment first." She dropped to her knees, holding out her pouch. "I have coins. I have toys. Please, sir." The dealer looked down at the pouch, then kicked it aside. The coins scattered across the floor with a loud clatter. Lyra gasped, her eyes filling with tears. "Worthless," the dealer growled. "Do not waste my time." Daniel stepped forward, his voice steady. "There must be another way." The dealer studied him. "Another way, perhaps, but it will cost you more than money." Daniel's hand instinctively moved toward his sidearm. He did not trust this creature. But before he could speak, the dealer snapped his fingers. From the shadows, 2 guards stepped out, weapons ready. "You want the formula?" the dealer hissed. "Then bring me something of value. A weapon, a secret, or blood. Until then, the child leaves with nothing." Lyra shook her head desperately. "No, please. My mother cannot wait." The dealer ignored her, turning back to Daniel. "Decide quickly, human. Protect the girl, or leave her to the fate she deserves." The tension thickened. Daniel felt the weight of choice pressing down on him. He could fight. He could walk away. But either way, the girl's eyes were on him, shining with trust. Suddenly, noise erupted outside. Loud voices. Heavy boots. Daniel stiffened. The city guards were near again. The dealer's eyes narrowed. "They are hunting you," he whispered. "And you bring trouble to my door?" He motioned to his guards. "Take the child. If she is valuable, perhaps I keep her. The human may leave." "No!" Lyra screamed, trying to pull away. But the guards grabbed her arms. Daniel's instincts roared to life. His hand shot to his weapon, pulling it free. In a flash, he fired a warning shot into the ceiling. Sparks rained down, filling the room with smoke. "Let her go," Daniel growled. His voice was low, dangerous. For a moment, everyone froze. The guards hesitated, unsure. The dealer's smile faded. He studied Daniel, measuring his strength. Then slowly he raised his hand. Release her. The guards let go, and Lyra stumbled back into Daniel's arms, shaking. The dealer leaned close, his voice a whisper filled with venom. Very well, human. I will not fight you now, but remember this. Nothing in this city comes free. If you want the formula, you will pay. In gold, in blood, or in secrets. Return when you have something of worth. He waved his hand, and the door behind them slid open. Now go. Before the guards find you here. Daniel pulled Lyra close, leading her quickly into the night. The door slammed shut behind them. Outside, the market was alive with chaos. Torches burned, soldiers marched, and voices shouted orders. The hunt for Lyra had begun again. She clutched Daniel's hand, her voice breaking. We failed. He will never give it to us. My mother will die. Daniel looked down at her. Her face was pale with fear, but her eyes still carried hope, fragile but burning. No, Daniel said firmly. We are not finished yet. I gave you my word. But deep inside he knew the truth. The medicine was not just medicine. It was power, and power always came with a deadly price. And now, by standing with the girl, Daniel had placed himself in the middle of something far bigger than he had ever imagined. The alien city never slept. Even in the deepest hours of night, its streets glowed with neon lights. Its alleys echoed with strange voices, and its shadows hid dangers waiting to strike. Daniel moved quickly through the twisting roads, guiding Lyra by the hand. Behind them, the sound of armored boots and alien shouts spread through the air. The guards were hunting, closer every minute. Where are we going? Daniel whispered. Down, Lyra answered softly. Her voice was tired, but her eyes remained sharp. The gangs do not live above where the lights shine. They live in the shadows below. If we want another chance at the medicine, we must go there. Daniel frowned. The gangs? Lyra nodded. They are dangerous. But sometimes, they trade what no one else dares to sell. It was madness, Daniel thought. But what choice did they have? They reached a narrow stairwell carved into the side of a wall. Rusted pipes dripped foul-smelling water. A sign above it flickered in red letters, warning outsiders to stay away. Without hesitation, Lyra began to descend. Daniel followed. The air grew heavier as they went down. The noise of the marketplace faded, replaced by whispers and distant laughter. Shadows stretched across every corner. The smell of smoke and burning metal filled their lungs. Finally, the stairs opened into a wide underground street. It was alive with strange lights and dangerous faces. Stalls made of broken wood and steel lined the walls, selling stolen weapons, glowing crystals, and cages filled with creatures Daniel had never seen before. Here, the gangs ruled. Daniel kept his coat pulled tight, his hand near his weapon. He felt eyes on him from every direction. A human in this place was rare, and rare things often did not survive long. Lyra kept moving, her head low. Do not look at anyone, she whispered. If they see fear, they will strike. Daniel obeyed, but he scanned carefully. The underground city was a trap waiting to close. Halfway through the street, a shadow slipped behind them. Daniel felt it instantly. Someone was following. Lyra, he whispered. We're being watched. She stiffened but didn't turn. Keep walking. If we run, they will chase. Daniel's eyes flicked to the walls. A group of masked figures leaned against the stone, watching. Another figure slipped from the crowd behind them. The hunters were closing in. Suddenly, a voice cut through the noise. Well, what do we have here? A tall alien stepped forward, his skin dark as coal, his eyes glowing yellow. He wore a chain of bones around his neck, each one carved with symbols. His gang spread out behind him, blocking the path. A human, the alien leader said with a grin. And the little thief. Lyra froze, her face pale. Daniel stepped in front of her. We don't want trouble, he said firmly. The alien laughed. In this place, human, you are trouble. The girl has been stealing from us. She owes us a debt. That's a lie. Lyra shouted, her small voice sharp with anger. I never stole from you. The gang leader smirked. Truth does not matter here, child. Only power. He raised his hand. Instantly, his men drew their blades. The sound of metal rang through the air. Daniel's pulse quickened. He knew a fight was coming. He pushed Lyra behind him, his hand on his weapon. The first gang member lunged. Daniel moved fast, striking with the hilt of his pistol, sending the alien crashing to the ground. Another swung a blade, but Daniel ducked, kicking him back into a stall. The crowd roared, excited by the violence, but there were too many. More shadows closed in, circling them. "Daniel!" Lyra cried, clutching his arm. The leader stepped forward again, smiling cruelly. "You fight well, human, but you are outnumbered. Give me the girl, and I will let you live." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Not a chance." The leader's grin faded. His eyes hardened. "Then you both die here." Before he could strike, a deep voice echoed from the other end of the street. "Enough." Everyone froze. From the shadows, another figure emerged. He was massive, his body covered in tattoos that glowed faintly under the neon light. His steps were heavy, each one commanding silence. The gang leader hissed, "This is not your fight," but the tattooed giant ignored him. He stopped beside Daniel and looked down at Lyra. His eyes softened for a moment. "The child is under my protection." Daniel blinked, surprised. Who was this man? Why would he protect Lyra? The leader snarled but lowered his blade. Even in this lawless place, some names carried fear. Whoever this giant was, the gang did not dare to fight him. Slowly, the crowd melted away, muttering in disappointment. The leader spat on the ground, glaring at Daniel. "This is not over, human. The shadows will always find you." Then he disappeared into the darkness. Silence returned. Daniel turned to the tattooed man. "You saved us. Why?" The man studied him. His voice was low, like distant thunder. "Because the girl is more important than you know." Lyra's eyes widened. You knew my mother?" The giant nodded. "Long ago. She saved lives in this city. Now she suffers, and the gangs wish her knowledge to die with her." Daniel felt the weight of the words. Every step deeper into this city revealed more secrets, more danger. The man pointed to a hidden tunnel. "If you wish to help the child, follow that path. But beware, the price of the medicine is not measured in coins. It is measured in blood and secrets." With that, the man disappeared into the shadows, leaving Daniel and Lyra alone once again. Daniel placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. "We keep moving," he said. She nodded, her small face set with determination. Together, they stepped into the dark tunnel, unaware that the true cost of the medicine was about to unfold before them. The tunnel was long and cold. Strange lights flickered in the distance, and the air smelled of damp metal and smoke. Daniel walked carefully, his weapon close at hand, while Lyra stayed at his side, clutching his arm. The underground city above had been dangerous, but this place felt worse. The silence was heavy, as if the shadows themselves were listening. "Where does this tunnel lead?" Daniel whispered. Lyra's voice was small. "To another dealer. Not like the first one. This one, he is older. They say he knows every secret of this city. If anyone has the medicine, it is him." Daniel frowned. "And the price?" Lyra's eyes lowered. "They say his prices are cruel." They kept moving until finally the tunnel opened into a wide chamber. Strange fires burned in metal bowls, filling the air with smoke. In the center sat an old alien figure on a stone chair. His skin was pale and wrinkled, his eyes glowing faint blue. Around him stood silent guards with long staffs, their faces hidden. The old alien smiled faintly when he saw them. "Ah, the child and the human. Word of you spreads quickly." Daniel's hand tightened on his weapon. "We were told you have the medicine." The alien leaned forward. "Yes, I have it. But nothing here is free." Lyra stepped forward bravely. "Please, my mother is dying. I will give you all I have." She pulled out her pouch, showing the broken coins and scraps once again. The old alien chuckled. "Child, you insult me. That is not payment. Your toys, your coins, they mean nothing." Her face fell. Tears welled in her eyes. "Then what do you want?" The alien's smile grew sharper. "Knowledge." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" The old alien's gaze turned to him. "This medicine is not just medicine. It is a formula created by her mother. A formula that can heal the sick, or destroy the healthy. Armies would kill for it. Empires would burn for it. And you come asking me to give it to a dying woman?" Lyra's voice shook. "It is her work. She made it to save lives." "Yes," the alien said softly. "But power is never pure. Tell me, human, if I give you this cure, how will you stop others from taking it? How will you stop it from being used as a weapon?" Daniel felt the weight of the question. He looked at Lyra. She was only a child, but her eyes begged for hope. The alien leaned back in his chair. "The price is simple. Give me a secret, something of great value, something only a human would know. Then perhaps I will give you what you seek." Daniel's jaw tightened. He had many secrets. Missions from his past, Codes he should never reveal. Each one could be deadly in the wrong hands. I don't trade lives for secrets, he said coldly. The alien's smile vanished. Then you trade nothing at all. The guards raised their staffs, glowing with energy. Lyra gasped and clutched Daniel's arm. Wait, she cried. Her small voice echoed in the chamber. She stepped forward, her hands trembling. Take me then. Take me as payment. Let the human go with the medicine. Daniel's heart froze. Lyra, no! But the old alien chuckled again. Brave child. Foolish child. You would give yourself for her? Yes, Lyra whispered, tears streaming down her face. If my mother lives, it is enough. The alien studied her for a long moment, then turned to Daniel. This is the price of medicine. Not gold, not toys, not even secrets. It is sacrifice. What are you willing to lose, human? What is she willing to lose? Only then is the cure earned, the words cut deep. Daniel's fists clenched. He could not allow this. A child should not pay with her life. Before he could speak, a sound shook the chamber. Loud footsteps echoed in the tunnel behind them. Voices shouted. Torches flared. The city guards had found them. The old alien's eyes gleamed. Ah, it seems fate decides for you. The guards stormed into the chamber, weapons drawn. Their leader pointed at Lyra. Take the girl.
She belongs to us.
Chaos erupted. The old alien's guards raised their staffs, clashing with the soldiers. Sparks flew. Screams filled the air and smoke rose thick. Daniel pulled Lyra close. Stay with me. They ducked as a blast scorched the wall above them. Daniel fired back, hitting one soldier. Another charged, but Daniel slammed him aside with a brutal strike. Through the chaos, Daniel saw the old alien watching calmly, his pale eyes glowing. He tossed a small vial across the chamber. It rolled to Daniel's feet. The medicine, the alien's voice echoed. But remember, human, the price has only been delayed. It will come. Daniel grabbed the vial and pulled Lyra into the shadows, weaving through the chaos. The chamber shook as explosions tore through the walls. They ran through a side tunnel, the shouts of soldiers fading behind them. Finally, they collapsed in the darkness, breathing hard. Lyra clutched Daniel's hand, her eyes wide with fear. You got it, she whispered, staring at the vial. Her voice was filled with hope but also dread. The medicine? We can save her. Daniel looked at the small glass container in his palm. Inside glowed a faint blue liquid alive with light. The cure. But the old alien's words haunted him. The price of medicine is sacrifice. Daniel knew they had won only a battle, not the war. The formula was powerful. Too powerful. And now, by carrying it, he and Lyra had painted a target on their backs. Somewhere above, armies would soon come hunting. And the question burned inside him. How much was he willing to lose? To save one dying mother? The tunnel shook with every step. Dust fell from the ceiling as Daniel and Lyra ran through the darkness, clutching the glowing vial. Behind them, the sound of battle still echoed, the shouts of soldiers, the crack of energy weapons, the cries of the wounded. Daniel kept his eyes forward. The medicine was in his hand, but the danger was far from over. Are we safe now? Lyra asked, her voice trembling. Daniel shook his head. No, not yet. They'll keep coming. They won't stop until they have you. And this. He held up the vial, the faint blue glow shining on their faces. Lyra's small fingers touched it carefully, as if it was the most fragile thing in the universe. It's hope, she whispered. Hope for my mother. Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. Then we protect it at all costs. They reached another chamber, smaller and quieter. The air smelled of oil and smoke. A few merchants huddled in corners, selling scraps of food and broken weapons. Daniel slowed, scanning the faces around them. That was when a voice called softly from the shadows. Human. Child. This way. A figure stepped out. It was a thin alien woman, her face half hidden by a hood. Her eyes glimmered with kindness. She raised her hand slowly, showing she carried no weapon. I can help you, she said gently. I know where you can hide. The guards won't find you there. Lyra's eyes widened with hope. Daniel, maybe she's telling the truth. But Daniel's instincts screamed caution. He studied the woman closely. Her voice was calm, her smile soft, but something about the way she looked at the vial unsettled him. Why would you help us? Daniel asked coldly. The woman's smile never faltered. Because I too have lost family to sickness. I know the pain. No child should suffer what you suffer, little one. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Please, Daniel. Let's trust her. We have nowhere else to go. Daniel hesitated. He wanted to believe. He wanted to give Lyra hope. Against his better judgment, he nodded. Lead the way. But if this is a trap, you won't like what happens. The woman bowed slightly. No traps. Only safety. They followed her through winding tunnels deeper into the city's underbelly. The air grew damp and heavy. Strange lights flickered along the walls. Daniel kept one hand near his weapon the entire time. Finally, they reached a small chamber lit by a single hanging lamp. There were blankets on the floor and the sound of dripping water echoed softly. You can rest here, the woman said. The guards never come this deep. Daniel lowered his guard slightly. His body ached from the fight, his lungs burned from smoke. He placed the vial carefully inside his coat and leaned against the wall. Lyra curled up on one of the blankets, clutching her toys close. For the first time, she looked almost at peace. Daniel closed his eyes for just a moment. He woke to the sound of movement, quiet footsteps, a hand slipping into his coat. His eyes snapped open. The woman was crouched over him, her long fingers wrapping around the glowing vial. Daniel's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. I warned you, the woman hissed, her kind smile gone. You fool. Do you know what this is worth? Empires will kill for it, and you waste it on a dying woman? Lyra woke with a gasp. No, give it back! The woman twisted, trying to break free, but Daniel's grip was iron. Rage burned in his eyes. You betrayed us. Yes, she snarled. And now the whole city will know you carry it. They are coming. Suddenly, a loud horn echoed through the tunnels. The sound of heavy boots followed, rushing closer. Daniel shoved the woman aside and pulled Lyra to her feet. Run! They burst into the tunnel just as soldiers appeared at the far end, their weapons glowing. The woman's laughter echoed behind them. You can't escape. The city belongs to the shadows. The chase began. Daniel pulled Lyra through twisting corridors, his breath sharp, his muscles burning. Energy blasts cracked against the walls, showering sparks around them. Faster, he urged. They darted through narrow passages, leaping over broken pipes, pushing past startled merchants. The soldiers followed like hounds, their shouts filling the tunnels. Lyra stumbled, nearly falling, but Daniel caught her arm and pulled her forward. Don't stop. They reached a bridge of rusted metal stretching across a deep abyss. The ground below was lost in darkness, the sound of rushing water echoing from far below. The bridge creaked under their weight. Go, Lyra, Daniel shouted. She ran ahead, her small feet clanging against the metal. Daniel followed, firing back at the soldiers. A blast struck the bridge, sending a piece of it crashing into the abyss. Lyra screamed. The bridge shook violently. She slipped, falling to her knees. Her hands clutched the edge as the metal beneath her gave way. Daniel, she cried. Daniel's heart froze. He lunged forward, grabbing her just as the floor collapsed. For a terrifying moment, she dangled above the darkness, her wide eyes filled with fear. I've got you, Daniel roared, pulling her back with all his strength. They stumbled to the far side, gasping for breath. The soldiers stopped at the edge, snarling but unwilling to risk the broken bridge. For now, they were safe. Lyra threw her arms around Daniel, sobbing. I thought I was going to fall forever. Daniel held her tight, his chest heaving. I won't let that happen. Not while I'm here. But as he looked back at the broken bridge, his mind burned with anger. The betrayal, the soldiers, the endless chase, it was clear. This was no longer just about saving a dying woman. Someone wanted the formula buried. Someone powerful. And Daniel had just made himself their greatest enemy. He looked at Lyra, her face pale but determined. Hold on, he whispered. This isn't over. Not even close. The broken bridge was far behind them, but Daniel did not slow down. He carried Lyra through another maze of tunnels, his ears still ringing with the sound of the soldiers' shouts. At last, they reached a quiet chamber carved into the stone. The air was damp, the walls glowing faintly with strange moss. Daniel set Lyra down and leaned against the wall, breathing hard. His muscles ached, his lungs burned, but his grip never left the glowing vial hidden inside his coat. For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of dripping water filled the silence. Finally, Lyra whispered, Why won't they stop? Why do they all want the medicine so badly? Daniel studied her face. Her eyes were wide with fear, but behind them was something else, something deeper. He crouched down in front of her. Lyra, he said gently, tell me the truth. Who is your mother, really? The girl's lips trembled. She looked away, hugging her small toys close. She was a scientist. A long time ago? Daniel nodded slowly. I've heard that. But there's more, isn't there? Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She took a shaky breath, then whispered the words she had held inside for so long. My mother made the formula. She created it. It wasn't just medicine. It was her life's work. She wanted to cure sickness across the stars. She said no one should have to watch their loved ones die. Daniel's chest tightened. He thought of his own past, of friends and comrades he had lost. The idea of such a cure was more powerful than any weapon, but Lyra wasn't finished. Her voice shook as she continued. She was betrayed. The gangs came for her work. They wanted to twist it into poison, something that could kill armies in minutes. When she refused, they made her sick. They poisoned her slowly so she would suffer, so she would die with her secrets. Daniel's blood ran cold. They poisoned her? Lyra nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. Yes, and the only cure is her own formula. Without it, she will not survive. That is why I need it. That is why I sell toys, why I beg. Because if she dies, her knowledge dies too. And the universe will lose the cure forever. Daniel felt the weight of her words crush down on him. This wasn't just about one child and her mother. This was about something far greater. A cure that could change everything. A formula that could heal worlds or destroy them. He sat back heavily, running a hand through his hair. No wonder they're chasing you. You're not just a child, Lyra, you're the key to finding her, and to unlocking the formula. Lyra's hands shook as she held her toys tighter. I don't want to be a key. I just want my mother back. Daniel reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder. I know, and I promise we'll get to her. No matter what it takes. The silence was broken by a low rumble. The ground beneath them trembled. Dust falling from the ceiling. Daniel tensed, drawing his weapon. From the shadows, a familiar figure appeared. The tattooed giant who had saved them before in the gang's territory. You survived, the giant said, his deep voice echoing. Daniel rose to his feet, weapon still raised. Why are you here? The giant stepped closer, his glowing tattoos casting strange light across the chamber. Because the truth cannot stay hidden. The child deserves to know. Lyra looked up, her eyes wide. You knew my mother, didn't you? The giant nodded slowly. She was a friend. Long ago, she healed many in this city, even when they could not pay. But kindness makes enemies. The gangs feared her power. They feared what her knowledge could mean. Daniel lowered his weapon slightly. And what about you? Why help us? The giant's eyes met his. Because I owe her. She once saved my life when I was nothing but a criminal. Without her, I would not stand here today. If she dies, my debt is never repaid. He turned to Lyra, his expression softening. Child, your mother believed you would carry her light. That is why they fear you too. Not because of who you are now, but because of who you might become. Lyra's small voice shook. I don't want to be feared. I just want to save her. The giant knelt in front of her. Then be brave. The path ahead is dark. The gangs will betray you. The soldiers will hunt you, and the price of this cure will grow heavier with every step. But if you endure, your mother may live, and her knowledge may yet save millions. Daniel's jaw tightened. Where is she? The giant's eyes darkened. They keep her in the iron spire at the heart of the city, guarded day and night. Few who enter ever return. Lyra gasped. She's alive. Yes, the giant said. Barely, but time is short. The poison grows stronger. Without the formula, she has days at most. Daniel glanced at the glowing vial in his coat. They had what could save her, but to reach her they would need to walk into the most dangerous place in the city. He looked down at Lyra, her small face pale but filled with fierce determination. Then he looked back at the giant. Then that's where we're going. The giant's eyes gleamed with approval. So be it. But remember, human, every step you take from now on is against the whole city. You are one man with one child. The odds are death. Daniel's voice was steady, his resolve unshakable. Then death will have to wait. I gave her my word. Lyra reached for his hand, holding it tightly. For the first time, she smiled through her tears. Thank you, Daniel. You believe in me, even when no one else does. Daniel looked down at her and felt something stir inside him. It wasn't just duty anymore. It wasn't just survival. It was something stronger, hope. And hope, he realized, was more dangerous than any weapon. The iron spire rose above the alien city like a blade cutting the sky. Its black walls shimmered with strange energy, and bright searchlights scanned the night. Soldiers marched at the gates, their armor shining under the glow. Inside, deep within its steel heart, Lyra's mother was kept prisoner. Daniel stood at the edge of a rooftop, watching the tower. The giant with glowing tattoos stood beside him, silent and grim. Lyra crouched close, clutching her toys tightly, her eyes fixed on the tower with fear and hope. "That's where she is," the giant said. "The gangs and the city guards both guard her. If you enter, you will face them all." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then we fight them all." The giant smiled faintly. "Human madness. Perhaps that is why you may succeed." They moved at night, slipping through the shadows. Daniel led the way. Every step measured, every corner checked. When they reached the gates, the giant attacked first, his massive fists crashing into the guards. Daniel followed, firing his weapon with deadly precision. Energy blasts lit up the air. Lyra hid behind the rubble, whispering prayers to a mother she had not seen in so long. The alarm screamed across the city. The iron spire came alive with movement. Soldiers poured from the doors. Gangs appeared from hidden passages, and weapons flashed in the dark. Daniel fought without hesitation. He moved like a storm, striking, dodging, firing. Each time he fell back, he rose again. Each time he was cornered, he carved a way out. The giant fought like a beast, crushing enemies with his bare hands, his glowing tattoos blazing with power. But for every soldier they struck down, more came. "Daniel," Lyra cried as a blast nearly struck him. He turned, shielding her with his body. The heat burned his back, but he stood firm. "Stay close, Lyra, we're almost there." Inside the iron spire, the halls were narrow and filled with traps. Energy walls blocked their way, doors sealed shut with strange codes. But Daniel pushed forward, using strength and wit to break through. The giant lifted heavy gates with raw power. Together they climbed higher, floor after floor. At last they reached a chamber glowing with blue light. Machines hummed and glass tubes lined the walls. In the center lay a pale alien woman on a metal bed. Her breathing was shallow, her skin weak and thin. "Mother!" Lyra screamed, running to her side. She held her mother's hand tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I found it. I found the medicine." The woman's eyes fluttered open. She looked at her daughter, weak but smiling. "Lyra, my little star." Daniel stepped forward, pulling out the glowing vial. He handed it to Lyra with care. "It's time." Lyra poured the liquid into a small injector by the bed. The blue light spread through the machine, flowing into her mother's veins. Slowly, her breathing grew stronger. Color returned to her face. Tears fell from Lyra's cheeks as her mother squeezed her hand. "You did it. You saved me." For a brief moment there was peace, but it did not last. The doors exploded open. The gang leader with yellow eyes stormed in, soldiers behind him. His face twisted with rage. "You think you can steal from us? That cure belongs to the shadows." Daniel stepped in front of Lyra and her mother, weapon raised. "Over my dead body," the leader laughed cruelly. "That can be arranged." The final battle began. The room shook with blasts. Sparks flew as machines shattered. The giant fought the soldiers, but even his strength began to falter. Daniel faced the leader, their fight brutal and close. Blades clashed, fists struck, blood spilled. The leader was strong, but Daniel's will was stronger. He thought of Lyra's small hands clutching broken toys, of her tears, of her hope. That hope gave him strength no weapon could match. With a final roar, Daniel struck the leader down. The alien crashed to the floor, his yellow eyes fading into silence. The remaining soldiers froze, fear in their faces. Without their leader, their will broke. They fled the chamber, leaving only silence behind. Daniel staggered, his body bleeding, his strength nearly gone. Lyra ran to him, tears in her eyes. "You did it. You saved us." He smiled weakly. "No, Lyra, you saved her. I only stood beside you." Her mother rose slowly from the bed, weak but alive. She looked at Daniel, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Human, you risked everything for a child not your own." "Why?" Daniel's answer was simple. "Because no one else would. And sometimes one life is worth the fight of many." The dawn rose over the city. The iron spire stood broken, its guards scattered, its gangs defeated. Word spread quickly of what had happened. That a human had fought the shadows and won, not for power, not for wealth, but for a child's hope. Lyra stood with her mother on the rooftop, watching the sky. She held Daniel's hand tightly. "You're not just human. she whispered. "You're a hero." Daniel looked out at the horizon, his eyes tired but steady. "No, Lyra, I'm just human. And sometimes, that's enough." The galaxy would remember that night. Not the gangs, not the soldiers, but the story of a child with broken toys, and the human who would not let her hope die.